All right, we're just gonna assume that's working. So let's just kick things off with an easy one here. How long have you been streaming? And then if you made the switch from Twitch, how long have you been streaming on Mixer?
Okay, so I've been streaming for about probably close to, I would say, I want to say almost 4 years now, I think.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah, it's been
It's like,
about
it's
that
like
much.
dog years. You just multiply by seven. It's
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
80
Yeah,
years of streamer years.
yeah. I started on Twitch about 4 years ago or so. It was around there. I just got into it. Yeah, it was about 4 years ago. Yeah. I got into it after watching like some videos on YouTube. I really liked the idea behind them and everything, and I was like, okay, let's try that out. Let's try streaming and everything, and kind of go
Sorry,
from
I
there.
forgot to turn off my Streamlabs alerts. That's on me.
Oh,
Go on.
that's okay. No worries. Why am I stuck on that? Oh, that's why. Okay. I realized something else was on my end too. I had to fix. So I got into it 4 years ago, and I just started straight up from the. Actually, I had a like small capture card. We were making some videos on YouTube and stuff, and then I saw the idea of streaming, and I was like, oh, I want to get into that,
Okay.
and kind of go from there. And then lo and behold, I broke off from there, and it was on the PS4 when they announced the PS4. They're like, oh, you can stream straight to Twitch and everything, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, there we go, perfect. Because what I had, my setup was like not the greatest, so I was like, okay, we'll just do that.
Yeah. What capture card
And
did you have at the time?
what's that?
What was the capture card 4 years ago?
Roxio, I think it was, or something like that.
Okay, I've never heard of that. So I guess I've only ever noticed the Elgato ones.
Yeah, yeah. It was like something that was like really like cheap. It was like yeah, I want to say it was like Roxy. It was something weird like that. It was
Okay.
like really really cheap one or something, and it was my first one, and I still have it. I think I have it in a box or something like that. So, and yeah, and then yeah, exactly. As Geigen says, it was the worst time PS4 streaming. Like PS4 streaming used to drop all. Like the thing is, and the thing was, you could have like a really good audience. You could have almost like 100, 200 viewers and stuff because it was people
Yeah.
like kind of how Xbox app works on Mixer. People would come in through that and watch it that way, and what would end up happening is all of a sudden your stream would go down and it would be and it would basically anybody that was watching unless they are following would be basically sent to the next PS4 streamer.
Really?
Yeah, so once it
Huh.
went down, it went basically like, oh, you had 200 people. Well, they all went over to somebody else now because, and it would be like PSN would crash or something,
Yeah.
or something would crash out, and then would be like, oh god. So if they didn't follow you, and then they couldn't find you that easy because they'd have to like hunt you back down and everything because they found you because of the game.
Yeah,
Because
I
it was
gotcha.
always like stuff like it was always the game that was up, and so yeah, so we did that for a while, and then I got some money down and I bought myself a AverMedia card. I've had that for almost 2 to 3 years now, which has run really well.
Okay.
I got into XSplit, built it up from there. So I started building the stream up more and more. We started doing more
XSplit's not a
things.
name I've heard in a while either.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm an XSplit elite member and stuff. So I've been
Oh,
with
okay.
them for quite a long time.
Okay,
And
that's kind of cool. What
yeah,
does XSplit do for you?
Well, it lets you set up like the way the broadcasting set up. It like has the multiple scenes. It has a lot of the features. As a elite member, we get the beta a lot of things first and stuff. So.
Okay, that's cool. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I was just curious as to what platform you're
Oh
using.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Right,
Actually,
yeah,
the funny
so-
thing is, I think I have to actually reboot my stream real quick because my XSplit decided, of course, as we're talking about XSplit, decided to actually lock up. It does this sometimes because
Right on the plug. Perfect.
right when I reboot, when I move my game from my monitor and stuff, for some reason it decides to lock up just in those random
Hey, no worries,
times.
man.
So yeah, if you want to give me just literally not
Hey,
even
it's fine.
5 minutes, I'll be right back,
All right, you're good.
and then we'll do that. Well, actually, I can still talk to you through.
Oh, whichever you want to do.
I can
do
start
if
to you
want
through
to, I can
still
do
through
that.
Discord. Just I'll have to shut down my stream on my end for a second. So,
All right, I got you.
but
So
let me
let's
do this
see.
real quick.
Let's not talk about the streaming stuff then while yours isn't up. So what's your favorite game that you played in the last year?
In the last year, let's see. Well, my game of 2017 was easily Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah,
I
okay.
love that game more than anything else. Within the last year, though, I'm trying to think. Probably Kingdom Come Deliverance. I mean, I spent over 2 months
Huh.
with that game.
Okay, that's the one that's the story RPG, right? I don't think I ever played that one. Senua Sacrifice. Oh, Hellblade. There we go. I couldn't remember
Right.
the name of it. The actual name of it. That was really cool. I loved what they did with sound in that game, and I really hope that other games take cues from that. Like, I would love to see people try to take on mental health issues and things like that. And
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they
video
did.
games.
They conquered that so well in what they
Yeah.
wanted to show and everything. It was insane.
Yeah, and on like the small budget that they had to, they just did a fantastic job of it. But what's cool about Kingdom Come Deliverance? What drew you to that game?
Just it was a different type of. It was funny because when I first heard about it, I was kind of like, okay, it's not fantasy, and I'm a big fan of like fantasy stuff like that, monsters
Yeah,
and
yeah.
creatures and things.
No,
It was more
Storm the Bard
real time and
fantasy.
everything. Yeah, exactly. It was more it was more like a real thing, like kind of like how some games are more like historically accurate and everything. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, it looks okay, it looks good, and I've always loved knights and things like that. But
Yeah,
if I was just like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna be per se and stuff, and a lot of people are like, no, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love it. I'm like, all right, well, I'm like, we'll see. I'm like, but when I got to PAX East, I was able to sit down and play a little bit of it. And as soon as I sat down and I played some, I got immediately immersed. And as soon as I got back from PAX, I made pretty good friends with Rick, the community manager over there and stuff. I contacted him and I was like, listen, I loved what you showed me. The game was incredible. I want to do, and at the time I was doing like platinum runs as my main goal on my stream.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, I want to platinum this. And how could we do this, how could we hook this up together and stuff. And so he was like, all right, yeah. He's like, definitely. He's like, and at this point I just got partnered, so I had the news that I got partnered. So I told him, I said, listen, I just got partnered and everything like that, so we can bring in some new people to see Kingdom Come and everything like that. I'm like, so he's like, all right, let me send you a code and let's do it from there and stuff. And
Yeah.
like we just worked this like relationship out where like every time I tweeted, they retweeted and stuff, and I didn't even ask them to do that. They were just doing it like all the time.
Yeah.
And then and I told, and the game ended up taking me over 2 months to pretty much finish and whatnot to get the full platinum, and we did it on stream. And it came to a point I think where people were just getting like, oh, okay, Storm, we can be done with this now. Can we move on, please? So after that, it was more like I kind of turned around. I'm like, all right, I need to change up my format a little bit. Maybe not take over 2 months for a game. But I had such an amazing time doing it. And then getting the platinum in the end, being able to tell them at Warhorse Studios, I was like, we did it. I told you guys we're going to get it done. And, it was crazy.
Yeah. So how many hours did you have to spend in that game to get that?
I don't even know. It had to be at least over. During the time before partnership, I was doing Skyrim, and I did the platinum run of that, which was 141 plus hours. So this had to have been over maybe close to 200 hours, I think, or something like that.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, that's a ton. It's funny to hear that number next to a single player game too, with the battle royale stuff and everything going on lately. So
Oh,
that's kinda
absolutely.
So how'd you get into? Well, here let's just go back to. Okay, so you started off streaming roughly 4 years ago. Got into XSplit. I think that's where your story started and where you were, if you remember where you were that. Or are you still trying to boot up your stream? I see you.
Yeah, I'm just
No
doing
Man's
it
Sky
right
stuff.
now and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm rebooting. I'm just telling everybody right now what's going on.
Yeah. All good. Oh, you got the platinum on Skyrim as well?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Okay, cool. What class you play in Skyrim?
I played. Well, I was gonna do like 2 different ones. I was gonna do like this knight type paladin class for like a warrior and stuff, and do all that things. Then I was gonna do like this thief. Like I was basically doing a good line game, and then an evil line. So I had the evil was gonna be a mage / assassin and everything like that, and then the good was like a warrior knight with like some paladin abilities and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what ended up happening was that we got done with the warrior, the good line playthrough and everything like that. But the problem was that, and then it was like, okay, well, it's time to make a new character. And then I was like, do I really want to make another character and everything? And then I was like, you know what? How about this? And we talked about it in chat and everything.
Uh-huh.
And we were like, how about we do something like this? Let's turn it around, and we'll say that our paladin has fallen and is now becoming an evil paladin and stuff and everything. So now he's like, I got this heavy armored guy who's doing all the quests for like the assassin and everything, smashing people left and right.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun. So we kind of entered. We put the role playing in with the actual getting the getting the platinum and stuff during that. So that was a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah. So you play a lot of RPGs. How heavily do you get into the actual role-playing aspect of it? Do you find yourself being very immersed in that, or what?
Yeah, I've always been a role player, and that's always been one of my big things. I think that's also kind of the where StormTheBard comes from. Is a lot of times, especially back in the day, and even on my YouTube channel, I have a lot of videos and things like that where it comes down to basically doing actual role playing, like doing the characters' voices, making a storyline for them, the whole 9 yards and stuff like that.
Then we can continue on from the Twitch part. I kind of feel, just in case I had to cut that out later when I edit this, but so you were on Twitch about 4 years ago. What did you start doing whenever you started streaming? What games did you play?
Well, kind of so when I first started streaming, I was just heavy into the PS4, and I was playing games that I had at the time. So like I started out with Tomb Raider, and then we moved on to, I think it was like Last of Us from there. And then my biggest game that really took off more than anything else, and I think it was like really when it came down to my major passion for this type of game was it was Dragon Age Inquisition. And we did an actual platinum run of that too. That was actually one of my first like platinum runs on a stream, because we went through we played the game the first time. Yeah, it's actually a lot of where my old Storm Knights came from too. A lot of my community came from Dragon Age Inquisition, because we like used to get tons of people coming in. Which was really cool. And it was one of those things where it was like, so we played it, and I was playing just kind of a balanced, good playthrough in the beginning and stuff like that. And then, I was like, you know what? I really want to do this platinum run. We have to do another playthrough, but we get to be kind of, because with like Mass Effect games or Dragon Age games, you get the two sides. You get to be good or you get to be evil. And so I was like, we're going to do the kind of the evil side and stuff like that. Let's do that. And from there, we just kind of took off. And just kind of played other games from there. Except I kind of fell into a trap after that, because, and if you're a fellow streamer, this is something definitely keep an eye out for. But,
I was about to ask about this, but go on. I think you're in cover.
So there was kind of a trap I fell into. This was that it came down to basically people, like when we were done with Dragon Age Inquisition, I didn't know what to go to next. And a lot of people were like, oh, do this and do that and do this. And you got into that kind of like, okay, well, let me please everybody, right? So it was like, everyone's like, oh, Mortal Kombat's coming up. You got to play Mortal Kombat now. And I played fighting games back in the day, but I wasn't like a gigantic, like I'm a button masher, if anything else, right? So it's like, for me, I was just like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. So I dropped the money. I bought Mortal Kombat. I played it for like just like a little bit, and then I was like, all right, I'm not really feeling it, And it was like, but it was one of those things where you fall into that trap, because now you're trying to please people. You're like, oh, we want you to get this game. We want you to get this game. And I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Next thing you know, you're looking at your wallet going, what the hell did I just do? And at the same time, you're just making yourself kind of like go insane, because you're like, oh God, why did I do this? Why am I playing these games? And so from after then, it was a lot of trial and error until I found, until we started getting into some more community games and stuff like that. We played some ESO when it came out in the PS4. That took off really well. We had a big community doing that. We played then the big one a little bit after that time and stuff. And there was a lot of jumping around and stuff from different games. And there was Neverwinter Online. When it came to PS4, got involved with that. We had a huge community with that. Met some other fellow Twitch streamers that were part of that as well too. We made a lot of friends and things. But around that time, and this is where this whole comes down to, is things started getting stagnant. And they just weren't really feeling like, personally for myself, I just wasn't happy. For me, I don't mind doing community stuff off and on, but I'll be completely honest, I'm very much a solo person. I think it's maybe because of growing up as an only child, but at the same time, it's also the factor that I just like a lot of storyline RPGs and stuff, and I like to take my time. That was like a big thing with like when I used to play World of Warcraft with my wife, is that I like to like go at my pace and whatnot, and we'd have people like doing raids, and they'd be like, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that, blah, 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 and I'm just like, I just want to play, and do the thing and stuff, and read the storylines and do all the cool things and stuff, and so it was like, that was always kind of the way I was. And with the community and stuff, I have no problem being part of the community, but I think And this is one of the things that kind of led up. We used to have a group called the Idiots in Suits that was on. We played on GTA. It was a role playing situation, and we were basically the worst thieves you could ever find and create. Like if you like the way we always presented ourselves was, if you think of the Home Alone thieves, well, that was us. That was pretty much us.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. But the problem was, it was a situation where, and I think this kind of falls into my own community thing too, is that I had to come up with ideas every Friday night for this.
Okay.
And in the beginning, it was great because the game kind of just, you would get in and whatever was going on in the game. Like my buddy, Mr. Bison, who is my coworker, actually, I've known for years. We actually started doing it as Idiots and Stewards. We basically got together and we were like, let's get together and let's play some GTA. And this kind of all this is how actually everything derived. It really actually all started in GTA because we had some buddies on the Xbox, my friend Mr. Bison, and we just got together and we started playing. And him and I would get in the cars and we would go rob stores and things like that and stuff. And it was comedy, like it was just comedy gold. Because the two of us were always, just because we've worked with each other for so long, we were always back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
And
that's something that's kind of missing on some co-streams nowadays, is just natural chemistry of knowing somebody for years beforehand. So that's kind of cool. It's a good way to start that.
When Mr. Bison gets involved in any of my streams and stuff, he's not a streamer, but he loves to get involved in like, he loves to play games and stuff. And when he's here, it's always a thing where you hear him and stuff, and it's just the quips that he comes up with all the time and things like that. It's just, it's always comedy. There's always something going on when the two of us get together and stuff. And so from there, we turned it around and we brought it on stream, and we started this big thing with the Idiots in Suits and everything like that. And it was a lot of fun. And we turned around, but the problem was, like I said, the biggest thing or anything else was on a Friday night, it was coming up with ideas over and over and over again to keep everybody happy.
It's got to be kind of stressful.
Yeah, that was becoming a very stressful thing, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I finally turned around and I said, okay, I can't do this anymore. We got to stop. And from there, that's kind of where I mostly was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to focus on a lot of my single player stuff, things like that, and go from there. So
okay. Yeah, so you said you started off with Dragon Age. What is the feeling like after finishing your first game? Was there a feeling of nervousness, like, oh no, how many people are going to follow me? What's going to go on when I start this new game? Because I know that's something that a lot of streamers run into as a problem with this variety streamer starting out. So what was that, and what strategies did you use to kind of make sure people followed along for the next stuff?
Well, so after Dragon Age, that was kind of, like I said, we kind of fell into that trap and whatnot and stuff. However, there was definitely some core community members that were there, like they were there regardless and stuff. And at that point, I didn't even like streaming was just a thing. It was just like I started doing it, and when I saw it blow up as much as it did, it was like, holy crap, okay, this is something that I definitely like doing. And one of the biggest things, and one of the reasons I love streaming more than anything else, and I tell everybody this all the time and stuff, is that I love it for the community and being able to basically meet people from all around the world. I think it's so amazing that we are in this digital era where we have people from England, from Japan, from Australia, from Germany, just coming in and hanging out and sharing the same passions, especially with me in RPGs. When people come in and we get to talk about our favorite RPGs or old school RPGs or anything, not even just RPGs, until like storyline games, things like that and stuff. We get to have those conversations. I think it's just amazing that we get to be part of that. And it's always like I've always said, it's like having you back in the day when you were young and having your friends on the couch and playing games and talking about things and whatnot. It's like pretty much when you're a streamer, you kind of have this gigantic couch that everybody's sitting on with you and talking away and stuff like that. And it's like having just basically all your friends with you and stuff while you're playing. And it's a blast. So. Okay,
cool. So how long did it take you to start working in viewer input for your things? So you said like viewer suggestions came up for after Dragon Age and games to play, and you kind of fell down in a hole that messed you up there. How did you find the right balance between listening what the viewers want and doing what you want to do and finding the passion for the games you play?
Well, the good thing was that, I mean, I'm passionate about a lot of games, especially if they're RPGs and adventure games and stuff. And at that time, after Dragon Age, that was the thing. It was like, it was kind of stale. There wasn't anything really too big going on. Yes, I had my mods that kept me in check, which was good too, because they were like, they could tell what was going on. They were kind of like, hey, you know, you got to get back into the flow of things and stuff. And for me, it was like finding the next game after it and then showing that passion again. Like Dragon Age was just such, I've always been a fan since like the first game and stuff. So when Dragon Age Inquisition, like it was really just major passion for that game itself. And and after it was finding something that I had major passion for as well. Right. And we'll get into that, the D&D and tabletop and stuff. Trust me, that's a little down the line.
All right.
So I'll talk about that soon.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, we got time.
Oh yeah.
How much time do you have, by the way? Yeah. All right. Cool. Didn't know if you were on a time limit.
No. I'm not telling you a time limit on. Actually, I'm going to change this over to and everything because I can't focus on this and talk at the same time right now. It seems. It's after that thing, it just threw me off so much. So I don't mind. Not at all. No, I've wanted to do this for a little while anyway. We've been trying to set this up and get it.
Yeah, all good. So. Sorry, we got a guest here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he likes being held. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about your transition into Mixer for a little bit. What drew you back into Mixer? So, not back into Mixer. What drew you into Mixer? Sorry.
Okay, so like I was saying before, and this is the thing, I've been jumping around so much. That's why I want to get everything kind of focused again and whatnot. So
we can jump around. It's fine.
Oh, for me personally, I'm trying. So my mind's all over in every single topic because there's so many of them. It's unbelievable.
It's okay, dude.
But
we're good.
So, like I said, at that time we were doing Neverwinter, a big community thing, and it was one of those games where I was getting kind of trapped into. As anybody who plays one game only, this is one thing you could definitely contest to, is that sometimes you get that kind of trappedness feel. That okay, this is like the game everyone's here for. This is the game we play. But for me,
the Fortnite syndrome now.
It is for a lot of people. Yeah. Hopefully that's going to change up with some of the things happening and stuff like that. But we'll see what happens. And Fortnite's not a bad game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a BR guy myself, but
I'm the same way.
About and they love playing the game. Hell, might go for it, play it. But there is that thing you do have to watch out for because you get involved into this other kind of trap. As a streamer, there's a few traps you can fall into easily. And another one is playing the same game and building that community about that game only. Because then when the time comes and you decide, hey, I don't want to play this today, I want to play something else. Yeah. You definitely see that fallout of the amount of community that was there just for that game compared to the people that are there just for you. Now, of course, as any streamer, you want the people there to be for you. But the reality of it is it's not always going to be that way.
Oh yeah, you just kind of have to accept that at some point.
That are just there for the game, or just there for the community of that game to be able to play and things like that and such.
Yeah. So would you recommend switching up games early into your streaming career if you're starting off with that? Because I know you said you played a whole lot of not Kingdom Come Deliverance, sorry, but the first game you played that is escaping my mind. You played a whole lot of that at first. So is that something you would have done differently going back?
I mean, it depends. It really depends on if you have a passion for that game and you know for sure that you're definitely going to put the time in, that you want to stay within that and stuff like that, and you're happy with it, then I would say, without a doubt, stay with it. But if you know that you want to take those breaks and stuff, I mean, you just got to kind of find that balance, right? You have to be like, okay, guys, listen, and one thing I think that I've definitely seen streamers do it well. If you're like, let's say you're a full-time Fortnite streamer, right? That's all you play and stuff. But you say, okay, but on this day, we do story game, or we do, other FPS game, or we do something else. Like, that's a really good way to balance it out because you can basically kind of set yourself up in that pattern of saying, okay, on this day we do this, and that allows you kind of to break away and gives you a break yourself from playing that same game over and over again and stuff. And a lot of times too, especially if you kind of plan stuff out where it's like, listen, things are kind of stale. There's no update for X amount of months or something like that. Yeah. Why don't we take a break and do, but the thing is, like, you have to be ready for something like that because a lot of people might be like, oh, I still play this game. I'm still going to stick with it and stuff. So it comes down to, as a streamer, what you want to do and how much, like, the biggest thing, of course, I mean, numbers shouldn't even be a factor. It should be more about your community and stuff like that. But again, if you build your community on, say you're a Destiny streamer and you build up a Destiny streaming community, you have to be ready for that fact that if you don't play Destiny that day or you take a break from it, there is going to be definitely a hit when it comes down to it, because there are people that were there just for Destiny. Hopefully, like I said, in time, people care for you, and they're like, I don't care if you play solitaire on the stream right now. I'm here because of you in general. And that's of course the biggest thing you want. You want people to become friends. Yeah. And friends are going to be there no matter what and stuff. But again, the reality of it comes down to the human beings is that we are finicky. And even if we're a friend with someone, we might not go see, X movie because they love X, style movie or whatever, or something like that. You know what I mean? Be like, all right, I'll catch up with you after you're done with that. It's like that kind of thing. Like,
that's actually a really good comparison. Like being friends and going to see a movie that you wouldn't necessarily like, but they do, so you go anyway.
Exactly. Like if your friend loves horror movies and gore and stuff, and you have nothing you want to do with that, but you like your friend, you're like, okay, that's all you. I'll see you after and stuff. And that's the kind of thing. It's like that's how you kind of prepare yourself. Now, with a variety streamer, there's a difference there because you have to pretty much prepare yourself in terms of there are going to be people that come in for X game, and then they're going to stay there for X game, and that's when you really got to like kind of push yourself and be like, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do,
right,
and hope they stay for the next game after that. But because you're variety, you jump around a lot. That might not be the case. So variety streamers will always have a harder time building a community in the beginning than someone that builds their community on one specific game. Unless you're promoting yourself like crazy, unless you go into the communities outside of streaming and stuff and like, building that up and everything. But still, regardless, I think that's the one biggest thing, like on my end, is that our community has done so well because RPGs. Like that's our main focus more than anything else and stuff. Whether it's tabletop, whether it's like games like Vampire or Kingdom Come or stuff like that. It's always been, anything that has RPG flavor in it, I'm all over it. And our community loves that because we get stories out of it. We get different things we can talk about. And that's always been the big thing.
Yeah. So I'm gone.
I wanted to go back actually to your question and stuff like
that.
No, yeah,
go for it.
So back to the whole thing. So when we were doing Neverwinter, there was kind of a stagnant area. It was kind of being a little stale and whatnot. And
can I ask real quick what the percentage drop off was in viewers from going from Dragon Age to Neverwinter?
I honestly couldn't even tell you because Dragon Age was like, it was actually way before Neverwinter and stuff like that. So,
okay. Sorry. I blend Dragon Age to whatever the next one was, but if you don't know it, don't worry about it.
I mean, from Dragon Age to the next one, it kind of went off and on because some people popped back in to say hi and stuff, but they were like, it was going from like that into like, I think it was Mortal Kombat we went into next because that was like the next big, because the thing was I was trying to do the variety streaming thing of let's get the next big game as it comes out. Yeah. And that's where I said that, like, that's the kind of the trap you can fall into too, is like planning that next big game when it comes out and stuff and playing it day one and everything like that.
Yeah, totally. And I see the appeal of that too, because it's like, you could be right in the forefront and get everybody coming in, but
exactly.
You also have to be among the top X people for that to be a successful strategy.
Right. But then at the same time, you're also spending your money like crazy too, because you're planning that next game and then it's like, okay, once this game's coming out, and the week after this, all right, we got to be done with this in a week. And that's why now I'm like, you know what, we're gonna play the game until we're done, and then if that's later on, that's later on. I don't care. I'm not playing it day one. Unless it's something I'm extremely passionate about, and then I'm like, okay, I'm playing day one. I don't care. And then the other problem is too, you deal with also this other thing where is in your community, your friends and stuff might be like, I really want to be here for your stream, but I don't want to be spoiled by this game. I plan on getting it too. I'm passionate about it, but if you pass the part I'm on, I can't watch, and so then you run into that situation too. Gotcha. And that's always tough. So to go back, so when Neverwinter on Twitch, things were getting kind of stagnant, kind of stale. And I personally was not enjoying myself anymore because I was feeling like we were kind of trapped in the game and stuff. And Neverwinter was a great game, but the problem was the end game content, because it was a free-to-play game. It wasn't like, it had a lot of just basically repetitiveness.
Were free-to-play games all that big at the time? This is still a couple years ago. I feel like free-to-play games may not have been what they are now at the very least.
On console, I mean, it did really well because it came to PS4. It was the first time. It was already... So
I just meant,
So
were there as many free-to-play games? But yeah, go on.
Neverwinter Online was a game that basically it started out on PC and then it went to Xbox and then it came out to PS4. So when games like that happen, the communities within like Xbox or PS4 and stuff like that, they actually get pretty psyched up. Like you look at like Defiance that just came out.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool to have those games because especially with free to play, I mean, you just download it, right? You don't have to spend anything for it, whatnot. You download it, you play it, you go, hey, I really like this. I want to keep playing it and stuff. And then you think, okay, do I want to invest anything into it and stuff? And that was a big thing. Like we kind of built a community off of that because I've always been a big Dungeons and Dragons, you know, and lover anyway and stuff like that. So when it was like, okay, I could play a free to play game that was all about Dungeons and Dragons, and I, you know, I knew all the monsters, I knew everything that was in the, you know, I'm like, oh, I know all this stuff. You know, they had characters from back like Baldur's Gate and things like that, and I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, I know all this. It's great. So we talked about we could be able to talk about it and stuff. And but the problem is being a free to play compared to a game that you're putting money into, like say World of Warcraft. The amount of content that comes out is very, very slow.
Yeah, that
so
makes
like
sense.
World of Warcraft, you know, they plan out their big expansions, everything like that and stuff. But a free-to-play game really depends on how much people are kind of investing into it and stuff. Where it's like, okay, and then of course you run into situations like bugs and things like that take longer to take care of, like than someone who's paying $15 for a you know, for a subscription and stuff. So there's that situation where you basically you're kind of like, okay, it gets to that point where no new content coming out for almost like a year now or something. It's like, okay, we just keep doing this same dragon dungeon over and over and over again. And the other problem was that a lot of the loot derived on keep doing the dungeon and hoping that this one like certain rare items dropped and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not interesting to watch.
No, it was
so
just
many
got
times
to a
over.
point where it's just like doing, and it was fun because we got to do it as a community and we get to play around and fight them all the time. But then you get to the point where you're just like, oh, I'm doing this again on Saturday night. Oh, fun. So
yeah, for sure.
For me personally, it was like, okay, it was like at that point I was stagnant. I wasn't happy where things were, and I needed a change more than anything else. And I have some friends over here on Mixer that like Kitty Has Claws and Halios and Preston.
Talked to Halios already. Kitty Has Claws is in the schedule coming up soon, so good choices.
Nice. So we've known each other literally for almost 3 years and stuff like that.
Oh wow. Okay.
We've known each other back on Twitch and stuff like that. We used to support each other, host each other, hang out, the whole 9 yards and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they all came over here to Mixer, like Magic the Gamer, Halios, Kitty Has Claws, Preston, all of them came over to Mixer and stuff when Mixer was Beam and it was the new thing and stuff like that. They wanted to get away from Twitch and they wanted to do something new.
Yeah.
Kitty told me about it and she was like, oh, I'm doing this and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. And at that time, our community was really thriving really well because Neverwinter was just like, it was just starting up. We were just getting involved. We were being known with other communities that had played Neverwinter before. So I really didn't think of anything about it. I was just like, okay, good. I'm like, awesome. Have a good time. I hope it works out and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then when it kind of got stagnant, she was like, you know, I was talking to her about it and she was like, you really should, you know, and I had another friend, Electric Angel, who used to be a Twitch streamer. Then she became a Mixer streamer or a Beam streamer. And then she went back to Twitch for her own reasons and whatnot. And she was coming over and I, you know, and I'd always pop in and say hi and stuff like that. And I saw her on her thing, I'm leaving Twitch. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I contacted her and I'm like, was she on Mixer the other day? No kidding. Oh, I wonder if she's thinking about popping back on. I'll have to talk to her. I keep telling her to come back. I'm like, we miss you. Get back over here. So yeah, when you first joined a year ago. Yeah. She's a very, very nice girl. So when she was coming over here, Electric Angel. So when she was coming here, I asked her about it. I was like, oh, you're leaving Twitch. Where are you going and stuff like that? And I think I could pop a link in there. Oh, actually, just do SO Electric Angel. Oh, we got it. We got this.
Yeah, somebody got this.
Stealth, throw me out a link, please. So when
Mixer, starting a Mixer.
So when she was coming over here, I asked her about it and I, you know, was like, oh, what are you doing and stuff? And I'm like, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going to Beam and everything. And I'm like, okay, what's Beam? And so she was like, tell me all about it and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I talked to my mods and I said, you know, hey, and everyone knew that we were kind of getting a little stagnant and things were not being as good as the, it just, they knew I weren't happy. And I was like, listen, I want to try this out. I want to see.
That's
what it's
gonna be
like.
hard to stream when people know that you're not very happy with the current situation.
It is definitely, it is hard to do it.
People pick up on your energy levels and stuff.
Mindset of, well, I'm sorry, what's that?
People pick up on your like low energy levels and things like that. But you were going on into it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's tough because I mean you're doing something you love, but then when you're sitting there and you're not loving what you're doing, you're like, what am I doing? And then you're kind of lost in the stagnantness of just like, it's like I'm expected to kind of do this because this is the community I built. This is what we're doing. This is what we've been doing. Because when we got into Neverwinter, we were doing it for a good like probably. I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 months maybe or something like that. Like we were in it for a long run, and it was building up very well and everything like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you always tell me something that I'm not enjoying picking up for. He does. Yeah, he does. That's why Stealth is has always been my main mod. He'd always contact me and be like, "Hey,
that's a good quality." Somebody tells it like it is.
Honestly, since back in the PS4 days when I first started and stuff, he's from England and everything.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah. So to kind of make a long story short, so Electric Angel came over here. She told me about it. She's like, "Why don't you come over and take a look?" And I'm like, "All right." So I went over and I came to look, and I think like some of the first streams I saw was like Lagby and Cranky Canuck and everything like that and stuff. And I loved what they were doing. And then Kitty was over here, so I was checking out her streams and everything else, and I was like, wow. And the community was just really cool. So I started kind of getting involved by going on the forums and then joining other like Lagby's community, and that's where I met Firebottle, which is a really good friend of mine now, and just meeting various people and whatnot and things like that. And from there I was like, I want to try streaming over here. And you could do the restream thing where you could do both Twitch and
I've heard bad things about that, but go on.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not the best. It's definitely not the best, but it works. And at that time, it definitely worked for what I wanted to do. So I'm like, all right, listen, I want to try this. Let's do it. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's like. So literally started restream. I started doing the restream and stuff like that, and it was crazy because like the community just like welcomed me with open arms. And I got to bring my I brought Neverwinter over there, little Neverwinter, because we still had our community and stuff.
Was anybody streaming Neverwinter on Beam at the time?
No, I don't think anybody was streaming Neverwinter at the time. And then we got into some other, we got into Final Fantasy 14, the MMO as well. We were doing a little bit of that. And then I can't remember what else I was doing. I think I was picking up another RPG that I liked doing and stuff like that. And I was playing that. And I just felt kind of revitalized, I felt like new. Because it was like a new community, it was a new setup and stuff. And I had friends over on Twitch and stuff like that, but they didn't feel as family-like. Only like a select few felt very family-like compared to all the people that were coming in and we were talking about.
Can you put into words why that is? What it is about Mixer that felt more like a family, or is it just a sense that you got?
I think it was just the factor that there's that thing on a lot of people say that honestly on Twitch it's very oversaturated and people think that everyone's kind of out for themselves or out to steal communities and things like that and such.
Yeah.
And it has it definitely less commercialized as well too. There's definitely that feeling and stuff. And it's tough because especially bigger streamers, I had a really good friend that was a bigger streamer and stuff that I met at PAX and we got to hang out a little bit and stuff like that too. But it's tough because when you have, so many people in the chat and stuff, you lose that kind of personalized level with them and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was just kind of that. And it was there's so many communities within Twitch that, you had your select friends of a few and, not every community bonded with every community out there. You know what I mean? It was that feeling. Where here at Beam, when I first came here, and this was before it became Mixer, everyone kind of knew everybody to a point. Everyone, and if one person, if Lagby was like, hey, check out this person and whatnot, everyone was like, okay, hey, we'll go check out this person and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of the old school streamers you see here and stuff, Tinkerbell and Uni and Stream British, all of them, we all got along really well, and I think that was amazing. And then it's like it felt like a family. Like when you were hanging out Lagby's stream for like, especially like the first time or something, after getting to know people, it was like it felt like an actual family hanging out and just talking and becoming like really good friends. And everyone's coming and supporting and stopping in the stream and being like, "Oh, hey, you're over here, cool," and how you like it, and then we talk and things like that. And of course, FTL was a big thing too. I mean, once you saw that, it was just like, "Ooh, all right, this is cool."
Yeah, I think that's why it starts to feel like a family, because exactly. It feels like a conversation rather than a sending smoke signals at each other or something on Twitch. So, yeah.
That was always the thing. And I mean, and that was the thing. Like we were kind of in our own bubble with the Neverwinter community and stuff. And I had like a few friends, like I am. I don't know if you know, I am Brandon and stuff like that. Or heard of him?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So when he was UGR Gaming, him and we knew each other from we've known each other for years.
I still haven't met him at a convention yet, but we talk on Twitter all the time. So
he's a really nice.
Yeah.
And he actually found my stream. I was forgetting what I was doing. I was streaming something. He stopped in and we started talking and stuff. And I think it was Resident Evil or something, because he's always been Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And we started talking. And we became really good friends. And so like there was him. It was a good friend of mine named like Fence Child and stuff. So we had a good community of good friends that we would hang around with and stuff. But then of course, you had the bigger, it was almost kind of like a high school clique thing, right? Because then you had the bigger streamers that all knew each other, that they'd known each other since the beginning of Twitch and everything like that and stuff. You had the smaller streamers that were building little communities and things like that. And then you had people that were just like, I don't care. I stream. I'm on my own. I'm solo, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But when you came here to Beam or Mixer for the first time, it's like all that kind of like fell out the window. It was like when I went into like say, Magnetron's stream for the first time and stuff. And there's a big streamer and whatnot. It was like, he was like open, very welcome with open arms. He came over. He actually rated us when we first started streaming and everything like that. And it was just like, oh, this is really cool. It's like you got a big streamer here on Beam coming in, hanging out. And it was just like, just a normal guy, And I always stop in Mag's stream and I always say hi and stuff. And he's always like, hey, what's going on? And everything like that. And it's like, it's so, a lot of the streamers, like the big streamers and stuff, you can hang out with, like Boom and Knight and everybody like that. Like, it's like there is no feeling of like the big streamer compared to the small streamers. It's like we're community. We're all we all want to see everybody grow. We all want to see everything happen.
Yeah, I feel like even the largest streamers that I see on Mixer are all good at interacting with chat and all very friendly and stuff like that. So
absolutely, and especially as coming from being a smaller streamer, because we weren't anything gigantic or anything at the time and stuff like that. I mean, we had a good following, but it was follower numbers and things like that. But I mean. It was like when we came over here, there was a feeling to me personally that I felt very very friendly with everybody, and everybody felt like really like it felt like just honest friendship, and it was that thing. It was just like, is Mixer the future or does it?
Yeah, let's get to that in a second. Finish your thought.
Oh yeah, and so when that ended up happening. It was like it was kind of a no-brainer. It was like, all right, I'm happy. I feel revitalized. There are people here that and of course, Kitty was like, she was on me faster than anything. As soon as I came here, she's like, "You're staying. You're not going. You're, and all right. We'll see what happens and stuff." Yeah. And it was just like, and then from there, it's like Check Twice Bryce said, like we had a meet up with Undead Hooligan. We all got together and got to actually meet here in Massachusetts and hang out and stuff and have dinner or have dinner together and stuff, and that was cool. But it's like those kind of things were like easier to propose and easier to do, and from there it was like it really was a no-brainer. Yeah. And then it just turned out from like I fell in love with it, and I said, okay, I'm done with Twitch. I feel like that oversaturation over there, it took so much work to build that Neverwinter community up, honestly. And it was just like, but it was so easy here to start promoting RPGs and seeing that grow quickly. And I'm like, all right. I was like, and I could do what I loved. And I was like, all right, let's just do it. We're going to do it.
The Vin Diesel answer, all about family.
You really want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. Let's do it. And then we just kind of go from there. So
that's really cool. So how much of your audience came over from Twitch? How much of your audience followed you?
Not a well. It's been kind of in all reality from the because we've been on Mixer for about now over a year or so. probably
Right.
over a year and a half, maybe at this point.
Okay.
I still see some people that pop in from Twitch once in a while, be like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while," and things like that and whatnot. Yeah, we had when I first did it, and the good thing I think was, and this kind of worked out really well, was when I first did it, I restreamed for almost probably a month, maybe a month to 2 months, almost close to that. So I could get everyone basically, because I wanted to get everyone of our community involved, and I want to get them on board. And I was like, all right, guys, definitely come check out Beam. And then especially when I made the announcement, I said, okay, at this date, we're leaving Twitch for good. We're going to keep the account open just in case anything ever goes wrong, but we're not going to be streaming there ever again. We're going to be streaming here only, because it also takes a lot of work to stream on both, because you have to have everything set up and da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So then I turned around and I was like, okay, we're going to Beam at the time, and we're going to stay there, and that's going to be the end of it. And it was like, so it was like kind of a building everybody up for it, getting everyone ready, telling everybody this is what we're going to do. And there was probably about a good quarter to maybe a half of our community that have come over and stayed. So
a bigger answer than I thought.
In that regards. Huh?
That's more people than I thought.
No, it was really good. There was a lot of people that wanted to come support and stuff like that. And of course there was the issues, and especially when Beam and then they're turning into Mixer and everything like that, there was some issues. So some people were kind of like, oh, I really wish you were back on Twitch and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I love it here though. And then, like I said, so some people will come by, stop in maybe for like a stream once in a while, say hi, just see how things are going. And then they'll kind of take off and do their thing. And then we had people like Stealth and Geigen and like, some of our other community members here that like literally have been with me for years. And, they're here no matter what. And they've even started streaming and stuff because they just love the community and love everything that's going on here and stuff. So.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of what I'm doing in the Mixer Squad account, or some of what I'm doing in that account, is reaching out to people that are Twitch affiliates or that seem unhappy with that. I'm like, hey, I know a good place for you. You should try this out. So, it's a lot of outreach.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to Sunk Wage Slave's question here. Is Mixer the future? Does it coexist with Twitch? I have my own opinion on this, but as the guest here, take it away.
So, is Mixer the future? Or does it coexist with Twitch? I mean, Mixer has completely came out and said that they have no issues with Twitch. There's no rivalry between the two. Is it the future per se? I mean, right now, see, the biggest thing that I personally find with Mixer is the factor that, well, Twitch is definitely going to be the big dog for a while. And the reason being more than anything else is because they have themselves the problem we have on Mixer, one of the major issues that we have here is that everyone thinks, or not everyone per se, but a good portion of people think, and you see this a lot, especially in many different chats, is that this is an Xbox only application. And that's not the case whatsoever. But unfortunately, because there's the partnership with Microsoft and Xbox and stuff, and because the application is only on Xbox, that's where a lot of that derives from. So when you first talk to somebody sometimes about Mixer, they go, oh, isn't that the Xbox like streaming service? And it's like, no, it's not. It was Beam originally, and it's always like, because like I get a lot, especially being a PS4 player, I get a lot of times people will be like, well, how are you playing God of War? Or how are you playing this game? Or blah, blah, blah. I thought aren't you going to get banned for doing that? And I'm like, no, why would I? I was like, Mixer is all about PC, Nintendo, arts, music. It's a streaming service.
I'm hoping that with I'm hoping with the recent willingness of cross-platform support between, well, maybe not Microsoft and PlayStation, but that's kind of on Sony. But I'm hoping as that continues to develop, there will maybe be a future in a year or two where Mixer is in fact on PS4, and we could finally get past that stigma.
That would be amazing. If they could rope that in, I think they would really like jump out of the gate big time.
Or at least on Switch. I could see that happening if Switch ever gets a thing.
I mean, they're on PC, but the problem is that, that's still, it's like PC could be, you can run anything out there. It's like once they have an application also on PS4, because right now what you're doing is you're getting everybody off their Xbox. They turn their Xbox on and they see, Mixer. And because it's so heavily, that's why they're like, oh, I come from Xbox. How are you even playing PS4 game and stuff like that? And that's kind of the tough thing and stuff. Now, in terms of being the future, I mean, I think that's really going to come down to how things is really going. I don't think Mixer's not going anywhere. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of And the thing is, Mixer's always said it doesn't want to be the next Twitch. It's not trying to be like Twitch.
I've always seen Mixer as the Vimeo of a, hopefully maybe a little more successful, but the Vimeo of this sort of thing.
It really is, yeah. And it's trying to do something different. Like you look at the things that it does. It's all about the community. It's all about like FTL. It's all about the different like things that they promote and they bring out and stuff like that. You know, it's like, I mean, you look at the new partnership thing they just dropped that, you know, it's not even going to be based on numbers. It's going to be based on community. It's going to be based on the passion and things like that. Which
is great, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's just like up and, you know, everyone's going crazy about it. It's fantastic because and I think one of the biggest things, like even Matt and James themselves turned around and said, I mean, you know, we want you to be able to do what you love. And if you love, you know, and not play the most popular game just because of the numbers and whatnot. Is that still going to be a factor? Are people still going to do that? Absolutely, because they're still going to see the numbers. But I think it's going to be a transition that will take a little bit of time. And once it does, it's going to be amazing because there are going to be people that are going to find, you know, that are going to play what they absolutely play. Because right now, you can definitely tell, especially if you look at some streams, some people play Fortnite or the BR games because that's the popular game. And you can tell without a doubt by watching and just the movements and the body language that they are not enjoying themselves.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you not fall into that trap of playing nothing but battle royale games? I guess you've just always been a single player person. You're about the community, but yeah. So
I mean, well, for me, it's honestly, I play what I love. And I play what I'm passionate about. I'm 40 years old. I don't have time. You know, I don't want to do the BS of just playing what's the popular game. And I've never wanted, you know, that's not my thing. Like, I know if I sat down and I played Fortnite, and I played Fortnite, not on stream, but I played it off stream and stuff. A buddy of mine was like, hey, let's try it out and see what it's like. And I'm like, all right, yeah, why not? So we downloaded it, we played it, and we were like, literally played 2 matches, and we were like, yep, done.
That's your yep, I'm old moment, huh? I feel like I have that.
I'm not for it. Well, we've always been a buddy of mine that I've known for a long time. Stuff. We used to play Battlefield all the time and things like that. And you know, we love that game, but we played in a very casual style game and stuff. You know, we had a group actually called Casual Gamers that were 30 plus in age, and everyone played because they just wanted to have fun. They were tired of the fact that when they turned on their Xbox and when they turned on their stuff and things like that, you know, it was. They were tired of hearing all the negative, the toxicity, you know, all the stuff that comes out of
Xbox Live circa 2011, 2012.
Yes. So when we did that, it was like, that was the thing, is like we found this thing called Casual Gaming Group, and it was like one of the most fun I've ever played. It'd be like, we made Halo maps and we just did it for fun. We'd have all these laughs. We would play Battlefield, and we would just be like in our own, like almost like TeamSpeak style thing and stuff. And it would just be us, and we'd always have a good time because it was like we were playing for fun. You know, we get a little serious on the objectives and things like that. Obviously, if someone was playing a medic, you know, they'd come over and they'd help each other. But that was the thing. It was like, so for us, we were never big into the multiplayer competition games and stuff like that. So when a buddy of mine was just like, oh, let's try Fortnite out and see what it's like. And for me being an RPG player, I'm like, yep, done that. I'm done. I'm over with that. I'm real quick. And that was the big thing too, is like, during my time in Mixer, that was the thing. I was like, I'm going to play what I love and what I'm passionate about. And I don't care what happens, you know? And it's like, and especially when the Battle Royale started taking off and Fortnite, you know, started blowing up like crazy, you know, and people were like, oh, you're going to play that? And I'm like, no, I'm going to play what I love because I want to play what I'm passionate about, and that's the end of it. How
many times do you get asked to play Fortnite a day?
Oh, gods. Probably at least once a stream, maybe pretty much. Sometimes maybe not. You know, it factors. It all depends too, because being a partner, you end up with the dashboard thing and stuff like that. You get a lot of people from Dash that are like, why don't you play Fortnite and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, because it's not what I play. I'm sorry, it's not what I'm into.
Yeah.
I've always been the RPG guy. I've always loved role-playing games. And I've always stated to myself, that's what I want to be known as, you know? And that was the other thing, honestly, you know, thinking about that back to Neverwinter and stuff. That was the other thing too. when you get into those situations of playing that one game, you have to think in the back of your mind too, as a streamer, do I want to be known as this person? You know, do I want to be known as the never win guy?
Yeah.
Or do I want to be known as this? Because you have to think about it. If you are playing that specific game all the time, that's really what you're going to be known as. It's like an actor that basically, like, you know, like Mark Hamill's known as Luke. Everyone will always known him as Luke, right? And that's
I've never thought about the
typecasting
as a streamer, but it's a very good comparison.
It is. You absolutely could be typecast as a streamer, because if that's all you do, that's what, like when someone says, "Oh yeah, he's that BR guy," or "He's that, you know, role playing guy," or "He's that whatever," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and you know, and that's what you have to kind of think about in the back of your mind. Do I want to be known as this? And when I came down to thinking about that, I was like, what do I want to be known as? When someone looks at Storm the Bard, when they talk about me to somebody else, what do I want to be known as? And when I talked to my mods about it, I said, okay, guys, this is what I want to be known as. I want to be known as the role RPG guy.
Yeah.
And however that encompasses it and stuff like that. And
yeah, let's dig into that once you're done with this thought.
Sure, absolutely. And yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty much done with that one. So that was what it came down to. It was just being known as. And that's why I stuck to what I love passionate about. I'm passionate about RPGs, and I wanted to be known as the RPG guy and being the bard. And when I did have my doubts, it was funny because Night Tide actually contacted me one time, and we were talking, and I was telling him, I because the BR thing was the big thing. Fortnite was the big thing, and you could see it, hitting us, especially as variety streamers and stuff, number-wise. And, I was talking to Night, and I was like, I don't know, man. It's like I'm kind of getting that, what am I going to do? And he's like, dude, and pardon my French for saying this for a second, but are you 18 plus or what are you there?
One moment.
No, you don't have to.
No, I'm usually 18 plus. I thought you were a teen stream, so I turned it back.
Oh,
but
no, I'm 18
You're
plus.
good?
I'm
okay,
18 plus.
Cool.
So Night Tide, one of
All
the things that really I think resonated with me, and I held this to me. I hold this to my heart almost, and I think about this anytime that I feel down or I feel like kind of like, is this working out or anything like that. Night Tide said this one thing to me, and it's something that like I said, I'll always keep with me. He goes, dude, you are the motherfucking bard. He says, just think of it that way. He goes, that's who you are. And because of the singing and the RPGs and everything like that and stuff. And that's what I keep to my heart every single day. I'm like, I am the mother effing bard, and that's what I do. And that's what I love doing. So.
Yeah. So how'd you go about building that brand? As the bard, basically. So other than playing single player RPGs a lot, what are some other things that you did to kind of cultivate that brand? Because your channel does have a very cohesive theme around it.
Well, originally this actually wasn't even what I was. My name was Elemental Storm.
Okay.
And that was basically a PSN name, it was an Xbox name, it was everything like that and stuff. And so it all started basically with that. And there was two reasons for that. Was first, I love storms, and the second reason was that I like elements and stuff, and I've always been part of that. It's more like kind of even a religion thing and kind of a Norse thing and stuff, and a Celtic thing, and because it's just all that I'm about. So those two things worked very well for me. But when I came here to Mixer and things were kind of kicking off, or when I came here to Beam and then things kind of kicked off and I noticed the community was building itself up and everything was like that. And then I was deciding, okay, I'm going to be the RPG guy. I'm going to do this stuff. I said, okay, I'm going to rebrand.
Okay.
And I always thought about this. I was like, and the Bard thing came in because for the longest time, we turned around and everyone was like, you're like literally like a bard. It's like you sing, because like that was a big thing. Like I used to sing for a couple bands back in the day and stuff like that. And so singing with me, I love doing regardless. So like if I put on Rock Band, I'll do some singing. I'll just sing in general. Like there might be a song come up in my head and I'll just start singing it while I'm playing or something. And, so stuff like that. And that was always a big thing for me. And people come in and we do, and I've always been a big fan of metal and stuff like that. So we'd always talk about metal and stuff, and there was all those things. And the one big thing was like being an RPG streamer and being someone that enjoyed storylines and RPGs and things of that nature and stuff. It was I turned around and I said, more than anything else, this is like a bard. This is like a new age or a futuristic bard. I mean, who's basically not in a tavern, although that's kind of what our community and our chat is like. It's like a tavern.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell stories and maybe sing a song once in a while, and we'll do RPG adventures like that and stuff, and talk about characters and all. And so it just kind of all clicked. And I've always loved Storm because I love thunder and I love storms. I just love the power and the energy of it and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, well, Storm's staying. They're not getting rid of that. And it was just like when people said, oh, you're like a bard, I'm like Storm the Bard. I'm like, that has a really good ring to it. So from there, I went into Google, I looked it up, and I said, I was thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, please nobody have this name. Please nobody have this name. Please nobody have this name. So I'm going through Google and I'm looking for anything that has to do with Storm the Bard. And I think I found like one video, or like there was one Instagram thing or something like that. And it wasn't even the right, it was just like, it was a thing in their title or something like that. It wasn't even their name and stuff. And I'm like, yes. So as soon as I found that out, I like literally started changing. I went right to Mixer and I'm like, okay, this is what we're changing. We're going to change our name to this. I went to YouTube, like we're changing this. We're going to Twitter, we're changing it. So I started like going through it all because I had to have that basis like set up. And I talked to Kitty about it and I was like, I want to do a rebrand. How do I do this? And so she walked me through everything I had to do. And I was like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. And from there, it was the thing. And the other biggest thing too is I had the numbers in my 23, and because I was born in January 23, so that's why I put it there and stuff. Okay. And I was like, I was like, and honestly, I was like, oh, I hate the fact of having numbers in my name. It sounds so like, it sounds like pretty much like a, what do you call it? A gamer tag name, right? Any number you always find, it's usually like a gamer tag name and stuff, because someone wants that specific name, but they couldn't have it. So they're like, well, if I put a number behind it, next to it, I can have it, And it was like,
yeah, exactly.
And I was like, that's not going to really work with the branding and everything else and stuff like that. I'm like, I want to be known. It's so Storm the Bard clicked. It worked. It like nobody had it and nothing was there. I'm like, I got it. I've got this. So I went from there. And then we talked about doing a logo and stuff. And Geigen, who's done my art and stuff for my logo and everything like that, I discussed with him how we wanted to do it. We always had the shield. We always liked the shield idea and stuff. Like, we got to do the shield. We got to do some Norse stuff. It's got to so we built it up from there. And shut up. You're not horrible. You do great art. So we built it up from there and everything. And it worked. It just worked out really well, and people when we branded and I told everybody, okay, this is the name I'm doing, and I made it live and public and everything, everyone was just like, oh my God, I love it. It's so perfect. It's you. It's, everything. And I'm like, all right, then there we go. That's it.
So was that scary at all, or were you never really worried about it? You picked such a good name that you're like, no, I know this is going to be fine.
It was a little scary at first, but at the same time, because everything was changing, everything got to the whole, going from Twitch to Mixer and everything like that and stuff.
Yeah.
If it was just something that felt right. It was something that felt like, okay, this is something I want to do.
Yeah.
And everything of that nature.
No, that's a good feeling. So moving back on how Mixer is growing, because I had this thought. I have a lot of questions whenever you're talking. You're a great interview, by the way. Do you think that Mixer is hurt by not having its own ninja? And do you think there will ever be a time where there will be an equivalent like ninja of Twitch? I'm sorry, Mixer. I get my words mixed up. An equivalent ninja of Mixer. Do you think somebody will ever fill that role? And after that, do you want that to be the case? Let's get those first two out of the way first, and then I've got some follow-ups.
All right, so explain those a little better to me first.
Sure. How Twitch right now has its ninja, which is like the main big draw to the platform at this point. It's like the single big streamer that's bringing in people from outside the platform onto it. Do you think that Mixer is hurt by not having its own person like that? Or if there is one for Mixer, I don't know if I could tell you who they are off the top of my head.
Honestly, yeah, I mean, the thing is, with this now, I'll tell you, with Ninja and everything like that, he has definitely brought everything into the limelight now more than anything else. But he's brought streaming basically completely into the limelight, because as soon as that whole thing happened with Drake and everything like that, the media took to that like there was no tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
and no, it's a lot easier to tell people what I do now.
Right. It does work out easy in that way, but at the same time, there's still now the problem is that it does get kind of twisted around, because if you look at some of those interviews, like the biggest thing I think that like some of these media places, like especially like, you know, that have interviewed him and stuff, really like they just want to wrap their mind around it for some reason, is they always ask about the money. You know what I mean? And they just put it out there like, oh, you become rich from playing video games, and it's like, no, there's so much more involved in that. You know, it's like, and for Ninja, I feel like it's great to have it out there, and I'm actually really happy the fact that he's doing so well and he's blown up, you know, and he's doing what he does, and I love that he actually has a very good mentality to it all, because he's trying to teach and bring information to these outlets of news and things like that are teaching people about streaming and stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of a two-handed sword, because at the same time, you look at a lot of people that are going to come into streaming for the wrong reasons.
Kind of a two-handed sword's a pretty funny turn of phrase. I know what you meant, though.
Because, or I should say two-bladed, you know, whatever, however you want to say. But basically the idea
on-brand slip-up.
Yeah, the idea is that, unfortunately, some people will look at it like, oh, you know, he makes all this money because he plays video games. I want to do that. And they don't think of all the work that goes into it and stuff. And then that's why you have some people that just come into chats and they're like, oh, follow me and, you know, all this. And I'm the best Fortnite streamer. Or you know, it's like all these different things. And they're going about it. They're going for it all the wrong way. Yeah. They're looking at it in the complete wrong light. And
I was actually...
No, go ahead.
I was actually worried that the change in Mixer's partnership requirements, speaking of, since they did raise the follow number, I've been kind of worried that it's going to lead to a lot more of that follow for follow and bad tactics like that. And it's weird to say that any viewers are like bad, but or streamers are bad.
I understand
but
what you're saying, absolutely.
Yeah. So I was kind of worried about that with the new changes.
Yeah, I think in all reality, I think we're going to get some of that a little bit. But I think some people are going to kind of wise up real quick. But at the same time, then it's not going to, like I was telling you before too, when you were talking about that and stuff, the biggest thing is that regardless if people do that or not, and regardless, I guess from what I've actually heard, there's like communities on Facebook that are already going like, oh, follow me and I'll follow you and da-da-da-da. But the thing is though, you know what? It did it on YouTube and it didn't work out. And it's been done on other things like Twitter and everything else, and it doesn't work out. The biggest thing beyond anything else, it's a dead number. Yeah. You know, you can follow for days and you can get all the follows in the world, but it means absolutely nothing if basically the person can't, you know, is not interacting with their channel at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
A number in a follow number is a follow number. It's like the same thing like back when I was on Twitch, I had 7,000, almost 8,000 follows, right? Mm-hmm. But that really, it was just, honestly, it was more of just a number when it came down to it, because it was, a lot of it was just kind of like people came in for like one specific, you know, like one time we did, when Final Fantasy 15 came out, I remember this really well.
Yeah.
Is when Final Fantasy 15 demo came out and we did it on Twitch. We had up to 1,000 viewers. It was probably the biggest amount of viewers I've ever had.
Jeez.
1,700, yeah, it was 1,700 or so. It was the biggest amount of viewers I ever had streaming.
Yeah.
And everyone followed. Like everyone was like, I'm gonna follow. But only a certain amount of those never came back. It was just like, oh, I followed because I wanted to see this, you know, I just hit the button because I wanted to hit the button or something.
Right,
you know, you get that a lot, especially with the Xbox dashboard sometimes too, is that, you know, it's, what do you call it? It's one of those things where, like Xbox dashboard, you get a lot of people from Xbox that might come in, but they have no reason or no ability that they want to, like, you know, they just follow because they're hitting the button.
Right.
They might have no ability, no idea in their mind, like, oh, I want to come back.
It's a clicker game to them.
Exactly. Oh, you know how many times I get like a host button clicked and the follow button clicked and stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay. It works, you know. It's like, and a lot, you know, and of course, some of that is very authentic, and it's like, all right, cool, yeah. And they want to see their name on the screen, stuff like that. True. Exactly, that's kind of it too. Stupid question: can't hit pink button. I don't know. Scope Italy. What are you on?
Yeah, I wasn't really sure. So do you think that you talked about Mixer and the big draw of it's being a family? Do you think that might ever go away if Mixer does get bigger? If it starts to get more mainstream, do you think that's something inherent to a small site, or do you think that the founders and the people that give Mixer its spirit are doing a good enough job that they could maintain that small family feel even if it grows?
I absolutely think they're going to keep the community going and stuff like that. I think James and James and Matt, they have a vision that they definitely see within Mixer, or even when it was Beam and stuff like that. And for them, it's always been about community. It's always been about family and things like that. And I could definitely see them keep doing it and stuff, without a doubt. And I think a lot of the core community members here, like I talked about, like, Uni and Tink and Kitty and Lagby and Cranky and everybody, like, we all want to see. Everybody wants to see that same thing, and everyone here wants to see a lot of that same stuff, And I think that's the thing. As long as everyone keeps staying together and keeps seeing what it is, and keeps wanting the community to stay as it is, I don't see it faltering, over that. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so speaking of communities a little bit, I've noticed some of your streams getting tagged with the Shed. I've heard that name pop up here and there, but I'm not actually sure what that is. So can you talk a little bit about what the Shed is and what's
Absolutely.
involved
Absolutely. I'd be very happy. So the Shed is an amazing community that is been here on Mixer back basically in the day of Beam. It was originally made by Bizzo Mephisto. But the idea was never really to be a stream team. It was more of a community team. And what I mean by that is that...
So like what the Mixer Squad's doing. But there's one thing good about Mixer. I have no problem with you talking about another community.
and that's kind of the thing is that, it's like Bizzo would never made it to be about him. And it never made it to be about, like... the Shed is basically about the Shed and all the things that kind of derive within the Shed and stuff. And we don't like... if someone joins, and anybody can join the community, not the stream team, but you can join the Discord community, and I highly advise it to definitely become part of it and stuff like that, to check out their community and stuff, because when you get to know everybody in there and stuff, it's everyone is just so friendly, always have good things to talk about and stuff like that. So but what they are is basically the Shed itself is, like I said, it's an old school community. That's just basically, that's what it's about. It's about community more than anything else. It's not about, hey, this person's alive right now, let's all go there or something like that. It's more about like, we're going to grow as long as the Shed grows. And by doing that, that's like different shows that pop out of it and stuff. There is the Power Hour, which has interviews and whatnot. We're actually going to be doing a role-playing show on Friday nights coming up pretty soon. We're going to talk about role-playing games and tabletop and all kinds of things like that and such. Yeah. So there's all those good things coming up. Beyond that, there's a lot of people host each other. Just people it's one of those things where like you just get to know everybody in the community, and people get to know each other very well. And sometimes like co-streams will be built that way, or just hanging out or hosting each other, or seeing what someone's doing and stuff. But again, it's not about just one specific person. That team was built to be about the community itself. And
that's cool. Is it cross Mixer and Twitch as well, or is it just Mixer?
No, it's pretty much just Mixer and stuff. I mean, there's some people that are there from Twitch that just know each other from back in the day and stuff, because a lot of people came over from different avenues and stuff. But it's pretty much just a Mixer thing, because like I said, it was pretty much just a Beam thing originally. Yeah,
no, I'll have to go check that out. I always tell people that that's the best way to get your stream out there. And it's weird because you don't want people joining communities to focus on growth, but that's like kind of a selling point whenever you're talking to people about it. But it's just a place to make friends, and that's one of the best ways to get yourself out there, and to network is dirty, as I think that word is, and things like that. So that's really cool. Good. Always love hearing about stuff like that. Let's see here. So you said you were on YouTube. Were you on YouTube before streaming, or when you started, did you just start straight out with streaming?
I started out pretty much with YouTube and stuff, just making some videos. Like I made a Minecraft video, I made some GTA videos and things like that.
Who hasn't made a Minecraft video, right?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I think everyone pretty much started out with a Minecraft video at one time if they were on YouTube. And then from there, I kind of I saw the elements of streaming at that time. I was always a PC guy at the time, and I used to play, my wife and I played World of Warcraft for so many years. So I was kind of out of the loop of what was going on in the gaming world and things, because I was just doing that for so long. And when I got back into it, I wanted to get into consoles again and stuff, because like I went from like the PS2, and then we went into like PC gaming, and then we played, like I said, World of Warcraft for almost like 8-9 years more, whatever. And it turned around when I came down to it. I'm like, man, there's some beautiful games on console. I want to check. Like, I haven't played a good console in a while and stuff like that. And some of my friends were like, oh, you got to check out the 360 and stuff. It's really cool. There's some good games. We could play Battlefield together, all these cool things and stuff. And it was coming down to, we were like, okay, so I started doing. Now, when I get into something, I do research on it more than anything else. And so with that, I did a lot of research in general on the stuff that was going on, on the 360, on the console, on everything like that. And when I did that, I started finding videos that were being made on YouTube by Rooster Teeth and just various YouTubers and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And the fact that I could talk, for blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, as we're talking, for as long as we are, it's like, oh, I could do this, no problem. So that's how I looked into my first kind of capture card, which was actually, it was my recorder and everything and stuff. And then when I saw that live streaming was kind of becoming a thing, oh, I should look into doing this. This looks really cool. And that's and then that's kind of how it took off from there. When the PS4 was announced, they're like, oh, you can stream right to Twitch, or you can stream right to YouTube and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, or, make your videos and go right up to, I'm like, bam, perfect. I'm like, there we go. I'm like, that's what I need right there. So, and that's when I got into that. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Rooster Teeth. Sort of. I wrote for Inside Gaming, their blog back in the day, and who eventually became Funhouse. Yeah. So I did some writing on that, and that was my part of my introduction into this whole industry. So I have oddly fond memories of the YouTube days, even though, and I guess some people still manage to make YouTube work, right? But for now, it's mostly streaming now. But it's kind of cool. Awesome. There you go, Big Mac. I don't think the Inside Gaming Daily blog still exists, but if it does, you can find my work. All right, so you also do D&D streams and tabletop stuff. I know you wanted to talk about that. You brought that up earlier, and I find that really interesting because I don't see very many D&D streams on Mixer. I know that they do exist. I just don't know about a ton of them.
Yeah, it's becoming. I'm noticing more and more that some of them are coming around, which is good. So we had now, like I said, we've always been to RPGs and stuff. And we've had this kind of small core group together that has been playing kind of RPG games for a while and stuff like that. And like when it was Divinity 2 actually, when it came out, we were getting involved with that. And we found out that you could kind of build, kind of like almost like the back in the day, not Neverwinter Online, but Neverwinter itself, the game where like you could have someone do a DM in the game and they could build all the things out and stuff. So, and we went from there. It was like, with Divinity 2, you could have a dungeon master, and then they could like build up the story and everything like that, and then we could play as characters. Divinity 2,
it's fantastic. It's awesome.
And so when we started doing that, there was limitations, of course, because there's only so much stuff you can do and things like that. With our group, we were like, and we talked about this for a long. Even back on Twitch, I talked about, I'd love to do like a D&D game on Twitch and stuff like that, because I used to DM when I was younger and stuff like that, and I've been in multiple games when I was young and everything. And I was like, oh, we should definitely do it at some point. And so from there, I turned around and it was like, we found out that there was the limitations there, and I just turned around finally and I said, you know what? Why don't we just do it? Let's just play D&D on freaking on stream. And it was like, let's do it. And so we started talking about, and we started building everything up and stuff. She's gonna kill you for that. I'm telling you right now.
It took me a bit to put 2 and 2 together. I was like, Miss Storm, that's an interesting name. Oh, wait.
No, that's my wife.
I figured. That's pretty good. Yeah, so, how'd you... Yeah, keep going. Sorry. I asked more questions.
No. So basically, from there, we just talked about it, and then we started planning things out, and now we pretty much, we do it on every Friday night and stuff. Every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have a D&D or a Pathfinder. We just actually got done with a Warhammer campaign that we just did. So, and, we pretty much try to present it every Friday night, unless, of course, things get in the way, which happens. But we built this group called Embrace the Chaos, And we also play some games together and stuff too. Like if we get together, we'll play like Sea of Thieves together. We'll play State of Decay together and stuff and everything.
Okay.
Because our thing is that we always, something chaotic always happens, no matter it's in the game itself or in any other game that we play. I blame Firebottle a lot for it, but hey, he's here right now, so I know him.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things where we started doing it and we fell in love with it. You know, it's been great. And for me personally, I love it because like on some nights I'm just not in the mood for community stuff, but like that every Friday night, I'm always in the mood for playing some D&D because it's something that I've loved since I was younger.
Yeah. No, I've never actually played D&D. Do you have any tips for someone who's never played it getting into it, or any ways to get in?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just find yourself a good group. Find yourself some good like friends or whatnot that want to get into it. Someone that has some experience DMing, or if someone that wants to learn. And just go in with an open mind, and don't be afraid. More than anything else, like a lot of people that go into D&D for the first time, they're very, very afraid of role playing and stuff. They feel like, oh God, I'm going to be made fun of, or I'm not going to do this right, or I'm going to mess it up, or things like that. It's like, don't be afraid of that. Just go in to have fun, and everything else will kind of fit into place more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm moving cities soon, so I'm hoping to find hoping I can make some friends there to do that with. That'd be kind of cool. So I finally have
there's online is taking off pretty good. You have the Roll20 program and stuff like that and everything. Actually, I'll put it in right here. For anybody that is looking for groups or to build up groups and things like that too.
Yeah.
Should pop up. There it is. That's our Discord for our tabletop nights and stuff like that. And we actually have like areas for people to build their own groups and things like that if they want to role play or they want to make stuff like that. So.
Yeah. No, that's really neat. That's a cool idea. So I watched a little bit of your old D&D streams. I like the map that you came up with there. Who does the maps and stuff like that? Where's that come from?
That would be Geigen.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what is
he does, he's our DM. He does a lot of our maps and stuff like that. Although we do take kind of like, it depends on the situation, but like we've had Firebottle DM for us at one point. We did like this crazy space adventure thing. Later on down the line, I'm doing something with steampunk and stuff, or not steampunk, I'm sorry, cyberpunk. Like a Shadowrun and stuff like that. So I'll be doing something like that later down the line. But for now, Geigen is our main DM, so he makes all the maps, all the adventures, everything. And then we have chat, very interactive with it as well too. So,
did you ever play? This is just going to be a huge tangent here. Did you ever play the Shadowrun game for Xbox 360, like back in the day?
Trying to think. Was that the first person shooter and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was a first person shooter like Counter-Strike, and everybody hates it, and I love that game so much. It's one of my favorite games. I'm going to
play any Shadowrun game at this point now. The one on PC is absolutely amazing.
I've actually played that one too, and it was really good. I have such a fond memory of that game, and nobody talked about it because only about 15 people or so even played it. I feel like at the time it was always the game with the same ones, but I've just been searching since for anybody else who's played that game because it had a teleport mechanic to it where you could go through walls, but if somebody threw a grenade at you, the grenade would follow you. And I have yet to see a first-person shooter implement that mechanic. I've been waiting for somebody to cop the teleport thing, and nobody's been able to pull it off. So that was just a really interesting way to do that. So what's your current character in D&D right now on your Friday sessions, or Pathfinder, or whatever you're playing here?
Well, my current character right now is so our group actually in general because it's a really ragtag group. It's so funny. It's so we have Firebottle, myself, Countess, and then soon Zombarella, who's going to be joining us. I don't really know too much about Zombarella's new character, but I do know about Firebottle and Countess's character, which is fantastic. And I'm just changing up my title and thing because, like I said, I've been trying to get back into my account. For some reason, it was like out. I couldn't log in for the longest time. Everyone's been like, "You're not playing No Man's Sky," and I'm like, "I know, I can't get into the damn thing to do it." I'm like, "We'll do it after the interview." So, we have Chat's character as well too. Yeah, Chat actually has a character as well.
How does that work?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be the first time we've ever done it, but it's they're going to have a lot of like move control on it and everything like that and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be able to like make decisions and even talk as a it's very hive mindish, which is pretty cool.
Okay. Have you thought about using Firebot interaction for that?
We have talked about it in the. We have discussed it. I think Firebottle was looking into maybe doing something, but he's been dealing with so many things as it is right as well. So I think once he gets his stuff settled, we were talking about maybe doing some interactive buttons and stuff that have to do with our D&D games and things. And we plan on going like forward with a full like website, and we're going to be doing stuff on the shed and stuff. And soon enough, like I said, we're doing that role playing. What do you call it? We're doing that role playing web show and stuff that we're going to be doing pretty soon. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's
oh, there we
really
go. Yeah, Geigen's got a Firebot interactive for the chat's character and stuff.
Nice.
Like that. So there you
so
go.
what are some like historically favorite characters then? Since don't spoil
well, I was going to
yourself.
I was going to tell you real quick about ours. And stuff like
Yeah,
that.
go for it.
So this is actually a very funny. So Firebottle, he could play one of the most funniest characters I've ever seen. He plays a 2-foot frog knight, and he has this. He's part of the specific order. I think it's called the Blue Order or something like that. And he he has to basically tell any enemy or anything like that and stuff. Yeah, a lot of people think it's a frog from the Chrono Trigger, and so he has to tell any enemy or so they have to surrender first. Like he has to actually bring out, and he's got like this long list of a title and everything like that. When he goes around places, he's like, "I am da 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 from da 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 da." Then you have my character, which is a 9.5 foot tall half giant. That's like kind of like almost like a storm giant. There's this giant tower shield, a trident, and he's a war priest. So he's like from almost kind of like a ancient civilization and everything like that and stuff. And you've ever seen Thor Ragnarok by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay. So he comes off like this, and he's kind of like cool a lot, and so he gets pretty mad, and then there's like this, so he has like this almost like mental like two personalities and things.
I was trying to figure out how to get you to do a voice example, so I'm really glad you brought that one up naturally. That's good.
Oh, I do it all the time on stream and stuff like that. I have my I do my Sean Connery voice all the time, so don't worry about it.
I keep wanting to do a Star Wars reading. Like one day for some charity stream, I'm going to get 4 people together, and we're all just going to make up different voices for different scenes of Star Wars and just read through the script together at one point.
That's awesome. If you do that, talk to me.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get involved with that.
Yeah, it'd be a fun one. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just remembered that I remember that was
thing. Countess's character, who's like this humanoid, almost like snake woman type deal. And it's and she is like she's like a mediator type deal. She's like basically communes with spirits that change her class up from like tanks to healers to all kinds of crazy things and stuff like that. But the way that these characters first, because we just started like literally 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was so funny because like Firebottle's like this 2-foot frog. So all of a sudden he's like, "I'm here," and it's like this really heavy, deep voice. And then I was like, "Oh, I kind of feel like doing this Korg-like voice." So I started doing that, and then she's done this like almost like cheerleader style voice. So it's like the most ragtag group you've ever seen in your life. And then we have Zombrellas coming in like sort of like a changeling thing. That's going to be quite interesting. Oh, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast. I need to tune into some of those. Those sound really fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right. I think we're hitting the 2-hour mark here, so we should probably wrap it up pretty soon.
We've been talking forever.
No, it's been a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I would really enjoy being on.
Let's hit some more of this basic stuff real quick. What are some of the things that motivate you to keep streaming? Like everybody goes through ups and downs, right? I'm sure you've gone through a few of those. So what is the biggest thing that keeps you coming back to streaming?
Honestly, it's the passion of this community, of our community of Mixer. It's like a mix of basically Mixer, our community as well, our Storm Knights and everything like that. Who really just, my job is I'm a manager for a printing company, and I've been in there for about 15 years, and it's one of those things where like I'm just burnt out of it, and honestly it's just like, but I know that when I'm done with it and I go home, like I have 2 things I always look forward to. I get to see my wife, and I get to jump on here and stream. And those are the 2 most things that drive my passion like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. And so being able to come here and play, because I honestly, if I wasn't streaming, I'd be playing a video game regardless. I love playing video games in general. Yeah. And I just sit here and I'll play like a role-playing game. But and my wife can even attest to this. Back in the day when I used to play World of Warcraft, I'd be talking to myself. And so it's like, I was so used to doing that all the time that honestly, when I got into streaming, it was just like, this was so natural. And
you were ready for it.
So
you're prepared.
Yeah, it pretty much. And then, so it's like when I come home every night and I'm just, it's like, that's it. I put work off. Like, it's like I kind of just step out of reality, step into my own like bubble here.
Yeah.
And I just do my thing, and I have my friends waiting, and we get to talk about how's everybody's day been, and we get to check out some cool games and maybe stuff that they haven't, and a lot of times I love it because there's a lot of games that people maybe not have seen. And I get to show that to them, and we get to talk about it and everything. And then they get to turn around and be like, oh, I love this game. So thank you so much for showing me. Now I'm buying it and everything else. And, it's like, and a lot of times I get that, and I feel so good about that because, like, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not trying to promotionally sell something unless I talk to a developer and we make out, some sort of plans and stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just like, it's so cool to see that passion go from myself to somebody else when they see, when they see me playing a game and how excited I am about it, and how much fun I have with it. And then I get to hear about how much fun they're having with the game.
Yeah, I actually had that same effect every time I start talking about Splunky. That's my favorite game. So when I start talking about Splunky and someone's like, oh, I've never played that, I'll look on Steam, and usually it's $2.50. I think I've given out 4 or 5 copies of it on stream just from various people because I really love people experiencing my favorite games. Like that's a great feeling of being able to pass down that shared part of what makes games cool, right? It's like this had a very strong effect on my life. I want everybody to experience this and to feel the way I did about this game.
Absolutely. And I mean, the other thing is too, it's like so cool because especially you get to for instance and stuff like that. Just for like one of my Storm Knights, Dan, he's picked up Darksiders. And I've been playing Darksiders as well as one of my platinum games I do on the weekends and stuff like that. And he just finished it and everything like that. And, I played it before and everything. So it's the coolest thing is that we now get to talk about what, like he gets to now, I'd be like, oh, what'd you think of this part? What'd you think of that? Would you like this character?
Yeah.
And it's so cool being able to do that, especially when it's a game that like someone has picked up and played and they're like, oh my God, this game was so incredible. And
dude, I gotta hit you up for a spoiler cast sometime. I've been
you don't have to care about
some
spoilers and things like that.
I want somebody to talk about God of War with at some point because some things happen in that game. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I can't wait. That's coming up next week. This week coming up, hopefully.
Dude,
and so many people have told me that this is like the game I'm going to absolutely love because of the stuff I like, the Norse and everything I love and stuff. They're like, oh my God.
No, hit me up when you're done. I'll be cool to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Right. So this is where I'd normally ask something that's some random off-the-wall creative question that allows the guest to flex their creative muscle. I don't need to do that because I feel like you've done nothing but spit out all of your creative things here this whole time. I was going to be like, create a character in your dream world. And I feel like you've already done that. But I
think we've created everything we could create at this point. We're going to have to do like a second interview at some point, I think.
Yeah, right. We're kind of over it.
Talk about it.
I was going to have you create a cyberpunk character. If you want, you still could do that. Here, okay, what's something, you don't have to go too into it. What's some character that you'd want to play for the Cyberpunk game coming out, or maybe the Cyberpunk RPG?
Yeah, I've already kind of talked about this actually. I want to have definitely going to have like a teched out character who goes out and like bounty hunting missions, has like is all decked out in leather and stuff. Kind of looks like kind of gothic industrial style look with like lights, embedded into their clothing and stuff and. It's very like techie, futuristic, like almost what's the word I'm looking for? Blade Runner style.
Yeah.
But like kind of like a bounty hunter and stuff like that. Carries a shotgun and probably like some sort of sword on him and stuff. So
nice.
that's the kind of character I was looking to do.
Do you ever cosplay during your streams for roleplay and things like that?
I have, yeah. I've done some things. I've had a character by the name of Mr. Graves that I've been known as for a very, very long time. It was actually at a haunted house I used to work for when we used to live in a different place. Okay. And the Mr. Graves character was an outside entertainer. And I would get people basically all kind of psyched up to go into the haunted house and get them scared at the same time. So they had no idea what was going to happen when I walked in because Mr. Graves was an undertaker. So I had an actual measuring tape that I would go up to people and start like measuring them for coffins and things like that, asking them questions like, would you like pine? Would you like, would you like this? And I'd get them all like kind of like really, really, really riled up and be like, whoa, what am I about to walk into? And so whenever we did a horror game, I'd always bring out Mr. Graves. I'd be like, okay, Mr. Graves is hosting, this game or something like that.
Okay, that's pretty good. I like that.
And then beyond that, I mean, just, I think honestly, not even really cosplaying it, but honestly, I mean, like I wear my headband. Like right now, I've got my sci-fi kind of look going on, where I always wear these glasses, and then when I'm doing my fantasy, I always have my Celtic headband on and stuff. So
that's cool. So real quick, you talked about going to PAX and stuff, and I think PAX and conventions like that are some of the best tools, the best things that a streamer can do to just network and meet people, and they're always invigorating. So what all conventions do you go to?
For me personally, I just go to PAX because I work as an enforcer. I'm actually the manager for the stream team at PAX East and stuff. And my wife, she works in as a stream team as well too. So, cool. So for us, it's always been PAX East and stuff.
Yeah. Any advice to people on like networking or making friends with those things they can do to streamers that can further stuff?
Yeah, actually, the biggest advice I can be: don't be shy.
My advice would be drink, but yeah.
Going to any big win, the biggest thing is, when you go to a convention, it's so overwhelming sometimes. Like, take a step back for a moment, just kind of take everything in, and then take it slow, enjoy yourself. And when it comes down to, especially being a streamer, when it comes to, and networking is such a term. Like, I talked to a few people about this, that networking is more of a business term, if anything else. When it comes
really shouldn't use it. I hate it too, but people know what I'm talking about when I say it.
It's about making friends, right? So especially with other streamers, you're making friends. With developers, you have you're potentially making friends, but that is business. You are networking because you're like, hey, I want to present your game on my stream, stuff like that. So I mean you would definitely coin the term of networking in that end. But you're right, influencers, if anything else. You're an influencer, you want to basically influence their game and stuff. But the biggest thing is like, don't feel scared to walk up to a developer or go up to someone, because I'll tell you, there has been so many times that I have felt a little bit of anxiety going up to like a developer and stuff, like wondering what they're going to say to me and stuff. And they have welcomed me in with open arms. It's not even funny. Like when I start looking at their game and I definitely find that I'm passionate about it and stuff like that, they see that and they're like, they start telling me all about it. Then I just say, it's like, oh, I'm a streamer and everything like that. And that's the other thing too. When you first get together and you go talk to, when you first talk to a developer or a networker, or you're networking and stuff like that in that regards, first make sure you talk to them all about what they're doing and stuff. And that right there is going to show them that, you're interested in everything. Like, don't walk right up the bat and be like, hey, I'm a streamer. Here's my card. I want to present. It's like, go up there with the terms, basically go up there with the notion to first learn about the game and everything like that. Like if I ever go up to any developer or anything like that, I always say, hey, can you take a minute and tell me about this game and what kind of features it has and things like that. And then when they tell me that, I know then right after I hear those things, I'll be okay, I'm really excited to play this. You know what I mean? And then most times they'll be like, would you like to sit down and try it? And then if I'm really into it, I'll be like, yeah, I'm definitely going to, I'm going to be for it. So, and then from there, that's usually then when I'll turn around and be like, oh, and then because then they usually start asking about me or whatever and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm a streamer and everything like that. And they're like, oh, you got a card. And next thing you know, now we're discussing and we're talking from on. And then as soon as you get back from a convention, reach out to them. Because one of the biggest things, and a lot of streamers will tell you this, if you made an impression with that developer, they're going to remember, even though they've seen maybe thousands of people. I'll tell you, like, I've had certain people that I reached out to them as soon as I got back from PAX East, and I was like, hey, I was the guy in the kilt with the beard that we talked about this, and I'm really passionate about your game. I want to show it. And it was, and I get a lot of times that the person will write me back and be like, oh yeah, we had a great conversation. I remember you, it was an awesome kilt you wore, and stuff like that. 'Cause I wear a kilt every day. So
that does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, a lot of, well, it's like my wife just said, 65% of PAX enforcers pretty much wear kilts. We do.
I think I
It's
knew that one.
comfortable. It's very, very comfortable.
Yeah. No, I have a small tip to tack onto that. Here's what I do at conventions is I always like take a selfie with me and the other person and then tweet it at them. So whenever I'm going through later trying to figure out who everybody is, I can just scroll down my Twitter timeline and be like, okay, you're the face, you're the name. And then you can follow up with them and be like, hey.
Oh yeah, that's always a good way to do it too. I always feel that like that's where I think my anxiety kicks in the most, because like I'm terrible at taking selfies as it is. So it's like when I go up to someone, I'm like, oh, let's take a selfie together. I actually do it a little different though too, because like some of my friends, we used to do like when we meet up. I got a couple of friends that are called Overboard Gaming from Twitch, and I would have them every year. We would get together. We started doing this just like even after the first year and stuff. I was like, all right, we're not gonna take a selfie. We're gonna take a video. And I would have basically all three of us go huzzah in the video and stuff. And it, and it's cool doing that, because then we have this like I have this little memory of this like maybe 10-second video of us just yelling huzzah, and it's like. And it was so cool because I would put that on my intro and everything too, and I'd send it back to them, and be like, "Oh, I got this on my intro now," and they're like, "It looks so good,"
That's really neat.
Yeah, it's sometimes you go outside the box, and it turns out to be the better thing than honestly just like doing the selfie thing and stuff. So
yeah, for sure. All right, that's probably gonna do it for us. Anything you want to plug here before we sign off? Any merch or things like that?
I must share Stormcat. It's a part of the stream. There's no Stormcat in general. What are you talking about? Stormcat is an inside joke of Geigen took my head and photoshopped it onto a cat onesie. So we get the onesie jokes going on here a lot.
Okay. Here, I'll. Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, plugs. I don't think there's really anything to plug. I think if anything, if you're a streamer and you're thinking about doing it for the first time, or you have been streaming for a while and stuff like that, I think the biggest things I can give to you guys, if anything else, is just a couple real fast tips. For one, play what you're passionate about more than anything else. That is the reason I'm a partner here on Mixer. That is the reason I'm an influencer, is by doing what I'm passionate about. Don't look at the big game that's bringing in all the numbers and everything like that, because you know what? That game is going to go away at some time. Yeah. And with that, always play what you're passionate about. For two, just have fun. Don't worry about numbers. Don't worry, do that stuff later on. At the end of the week, sit down, look at your analytics and stuff like that. Or if you had an incredible night, turn back or go back to your VODs and then see what really worked. What was the thing that really brought, because sometimes you'll find something that surprises you that's like, wow, okay, this is what I need to do for now on, or something. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
And the other thing is definitely be yourself. You don't have to be some persona. You don't have to be something else. Like, honestly, if I could wear that headband all the time, I'd probably be wearing that headband day in and day out. I mean, it's like, that's how I am. This is me in general. Like my wife can attest, this is me, like wearing the kilts, going, things like that. People know me. I talk about by the gods all the time. They know who I am. And that's the biggest thing I could say. But more than anything else, have fun. Don't worry about your numbers. Play what you're passionate about. And do it all honestly, and more than anything else, just do it. Do it to do it. If you're thinking about it, do it. Just don't worry about all the equipment and all the expenses and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Just do it.
No, it's easier than ever to get into streaming with the new consoles and PCs and everything like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure.
And it's so much fun. Build communities, make friends, because that's the biggest thing you want to do. You want to make friends and stuff like that who are going to come and support, and not money wise and stuff, but come support by just coming and hanging out and being someone there to talk to. And those beginning streams, especially when there's like nobody there, don't worry about it. It's like that's where you learn. That's the time to take to learn. That's the time to take to learn how to talk to yourself, to think out loud, things like that. Those are the things you want to do. But make sure you're having fun beyond anything else, because if you're not having fun and that one person comes walking in and you're not saying a word or you're not enjoying yourself and you show it, they're not going to come back. And they're probably more than likely not even going to say hello. So,
yeah, for sure. All right. I'm going to let you go then. This has been it's been really fun, dude. This is a good time.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do this again sometime for something else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah. No, thanks again for stopping by. Awesome time.